used to be made in the village of Bakewell, and there was a lot of controversy about how it was made, but there's one thing certain. I'll come to the controversy in a minute. One thing certain, it needed pastry, and this is a very simple way of making that pastry. That's 6 ounces of flour and 3 ounces of butter. I'm using a food processor, as I usually do when I'm making pastry. This is not just laziness. The fact is that I've actually got hot hands, and if I make pastry by hand, it always goes awful, but the food processors don't make you have to touch it, you see, so it's very easy. Pinch of salt, and off we go. You turn the butter and salt and flour into breadcrumbs, and then you add about 2 tablespoonfuls of water. It varies from flour to flour, depending on how moist it is to start with. But it should ball up around the knife when the pastry is made. Oh, isn't that lucky? I'm pleased with that. Now what you do is you push that together and you put it in the fridge for about 30 minutes to firm up. And then you lie in a 7-inch deep pie tin with it. If you've got a loose bottom one, it makes it much easier to get out afterwards. Now we come to the real controversy about Bakewell tarts. The thin layer of raspberry jam is, as far as I'm concerned, a no-no. There is a tradition that it was made with candied apricots. They're hard to come by these days. So here is 2 ounces of candied peel and about 4 ounces of apricot conserve or apricot jam, making a kind of wonderful compromise. But certainly more jam and candied fruit and a far richer base than we now customarily use. They used to make them, they say, 3 inches deep in the old days. I think that's a bit much now, but that's about right. Here is the rest of the filling. 4 ounces of caster sugar and 4 eggs beaten together. I'm going to add to that some vanilla essence. If you are a purist, you can use vanilla sugar, which is fine, but about a teaspoon of vanilla essence is the crafty way of achieving this, and 4 ounces of ground almonds. Here I enter the lists again. There is a view that there was no almonds in it at all, some views, and that there was almond cream, which was made with ground almonds pressed with milk, and rather like coconut creams made these days. I'm really not concerned. This is the way I like making it. And you add 4 ounces, again, another 4 ounces, of melted butter that I've let go, and I've heated and let go what the French call noisette, which really means that it's just started to go brown and has that kind of rather fudge smell to it, which enriches the whole mixture just wonderfully. In fact, it smells so good it's hardly worth putting it in the pastry, but I think I will, just to show you what happens next, because that's worth seeing too. Make sure you stir it together so that the butter and the almonds and everything are all mixed up, and then you fill the pastry case with it. It should just come to about ½ an inch below the top because it will rise. You put the pie in a preheated oven, Mark 6 gas, that's 400 degrees Fahrenheit and 200 degrees centigrade. Just get the oven open and you cook it for 35 minutes and you check it. Just set that. And you check it when it's cooked with a skewer. You put it in, and if the skewer comes out clean, it's cooked. If it's still a little smeary, give it another 5 minutes or so. Make sure the top doesn't burn. You can serve it hot, which I don't really much approve of. You can serve it cold, which is okay, but best of all, you can serve it warm. Before I serve it, actually, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to put a little icing sugar over the top, just as a decoration. I can see Heine hurtling towards it already.
The vultures are gathering once again,
Yes, the vultures.
Michael.
Gannet is what I had in mind for you.
I ought to tell you that I spent most of...
a little romantic in your case.
I spent most of my childhood not far from the village of Bakewell, and so I know a Bakewell tart when I see it.
Do you indeed?
And I'm afraid I'm going to be slightly scandalised not to see that rich red
Hang on a minute, I
raspberry
haven't cut
oozing out
right
of
the
the
way
bottom.
through that. Hang on a moment. I haven't finished cutting. Not to see the rich red... You're a raspberry jam man,
I'm
aren't you?
broad-minded enough to give it a go.
No, what you want is that incredible, rich